بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هبدأ معكم phase 3 research project 1. I will tell you how to start phase 3. Guidelines for phase 3. Before starting phase 3, which is presentation and analysis of data, we have to list all our variables in a paper and then start to answer 3 questions. You have to bring a paper and put it beside you before you start. And you have to write or to answer these 3 questions. The first one, which of the variables is dependent or independent? This is the first question. Second question, type of your variable. What is the type of your variables? Number 3, what are my objectives? You have to write your objectives in front of you. So you be sure at the end of writing your results that you satisfy all the objectives. I will go for one by one now. Which of the variables is dependent or independent? I will start with independent variable. This dependent variable is usually also called predictor variable, or it is called determinants, or it is called the predisposing factors or risk factors. So it's better for us to use one term, stick to one term, it is risk factors. So independent variable is the risk factors of the disease. But independent variable is the disease itself, or the condition itself, or the outcome, or the output variable. But we have to stick to one term so we can understand each other. So independent variable will be the disease you are using. Which disease you are using? If you are your disease is hypertension, so it will be the dependent variable will be hypertension. If it is migraine, it will be migraine. If it is cancer breast, your dependent variable will be cancer breast. If it is insulin resistance, your dependent variable is insulin resistance, and so on. So your disease, it will be your dependent variable, and your risk factors will be your independent variables. Then, what are the types of your variables? We are very strict for this. You have to know your variables very carefully. Be sure that you know the type of the variable. That's why we insist during entering the data in the SPSS, and we gave you all the rubrics for the evaluation of this part, that the type of variable is very important. You have to put if the variable is nominal, if the variable is ordinal, if the variable is a scale. You should put this, and all your variables, the type of your variable will be numerical, and you have to say the measure as I will say now. I will clarify this for you. Your variables may be quantitative variable or qualitative variables. Qualitative, it means categorical variables. So quantitative or categorical. Categorical means qualitative variable. For quantitative variable, it may be continuous variable or discrete variable. Continuous variables is a variable which describe measures, and it can be divided into smaller units. But discrete variable is a variable which is a count and which cannot be divided, like, for example, the number of cigarettes. But continuous variable like height, weight, body mass index, and so on. Now, your variable in the item measure, you have to say it is a scale variable, not nominal, not ordinal. It is a scale variable. Look at the icon beside each variable. If you are using SPSS, when you put your variables, you will find beside the variable you mentioned that it is a scale, you will find a rural like this, the yellow one. This is a rural. This one will be beside. So these variables: weight, height, total diet score, postprandial blood sugar, blood pressure, body mass index, waist circumference, total stress score. All these are scale variables. Or because we put they have numbers, they have original numbers, and it is most of them are continuous variables. Then we are going to mention what is categorical variables. It may be nominal or ordinal. Nominal variables represent group names, but ordinal variables are names, but it will be in an order. That has an order. Nominal variables like what? As you see, this is nominal variables like smoking status, having dyslipidemia or not, yes or not, having diabetes or not, having hypertension or not, having family history of a disease. These all are nominal variables. At the SPSS, you will find this icon, which is 3 circles, as you see, beside the variable, this means that this variable is a nominal variable. So if you forget what you did in the variables view, the variable will be in front of you, and if it is wrong, you have to go back to the variable and correct that it is a nominal variable, and then go to ordinal. Ordinal variables are variables which have an order, like for example, education, primary, secondary, university. So it is an order. For example, physical activity, low, moderate, high. So it is have an order. So beside your variable, you will have this icon, which is in the form of 3. As you see, 3, 4, 5. But this will be all your variables which are ordinal variables. It is any categorical variables will be, if you make it a category, if you recode the variable from a continuous variable to categories, it will be now an ordinal variable. So age groups will be ordinal variable. Data score, we start from the smallest to the largest, is ordinal variable. Physical activity, ordinal, and so on. Body mass index, we divide body mass index into underweight, normal, overweight, obesity stage 1, obesity stage 2, or morbid obesity, then malignant obesity. So it is categories. Everyone is larger than the other. So it will be, the icon will be in front of you like this. 3 bar chart beside. So when we look at my variable while entering your data or while you're making your statistical analysis, look at beside the variable. If you have this ruler, so it is a scale. If it has these 3 circles, so it is a nominal variable. If it has this 3 bar chart or bars, it is ordinal variable. What are my objectives? Why I'm keen to let you know that your variable is ordinal or nominal, or because when you use a statistical test, every statistical test need, some tests need the variable to be continuous, to be a scale. Some tests other will need the variable to be a categorical variables, nominal or ordinal or whatever. So every test in statistics need a type of variable. So you have to know your variable. If you put it in a wrong way, so the results will be completely wrong. Now go to the third question, which is very important. What are my objectives? You have to write your objectives beside you. Most of the projects we did in project 1 for most of the groups, or nearly 90% of the groups, we have the same objectives with different diseases. The first objective will be determine the prevalence of a disease. The second objective, identify the determinants of the risk factors of a disease. The third objective, assess the clinical aspect of a disease. Most of us having these 3 objectives. So you have to satisfy the 3 objectives inside your section of the results. The result section should include your objectives. When design this section, be sure that all the objectives are included in the result section in the form. It may be in the form of text, in the form of figures, in the form of tables, but you have to include, you have to answer these 3 questions. These 3 objectives should be inside your data or result section. Start to design your result. Now, start to design your result using, we have to start with descriptive statistics. What I mean by statistics, it means we have to describe our data, to describe our population, to describe our sample, to describe our results. We start with, all of us should have started with a social demographic data. Social demographic data, maybe you have health data or not, but this is a provisional table for all of us to start with. Table 1. Table 1, social demographic and health status data among your population in your place, the year and the year. You have in the title of the table, the table should be like this. As you see, this is table 1, nothing beside it, colon, semicolon, dot, no, nothing. Just start social demographic and health status data among. You have to mention which population in your data. Which population, I mean young, old, child, infant, male, female, medical students. This is describe your population is the title of the table, and the place, it may be in Jeddah, in Alexandria, in Riyadh, and then you start to mention the year. Like what social demographic data, like age, gender, marital status, smoking, education, occupation, income, and so on. What I mean by health status data, you can write it in any way you like. But this is a provisional title for your table. Health status like history of hypertension, history of cardiovascular disease, history of diabetes, and so on. But also it includes family history of the same disease. You will mention the disease which is related to your disease. And then you can mention the drugs. For my group, they mentioned they have their data that if anyone on cortisone or not. So you mention that cortisone taking or not. So you have to mention drugs, you have to mention family history, you have to mention the health status of the person himself. This is a provisional table 1. Table 2 can be risk factors of the condition, a disease you have, risk factors of hypertension, for example, risk factors of anemia among population, among male, among adults, among children, in Jeddah, the place, and the year 2022. List all the risk factors, use frequency and percentage, because this is descriptive. So third question back, or third table, it can be clinical aspect of the condition or disease. Under study among the population in place and year. List all the clinical variables, use frequency and percentage. Now, for prevalence, because all of us have a prevalence, asking one of our objectives, one of our questions would be the prevalence of disease, so we have to write the prevalence of a disease. It may be in the text, it may be in a table, it may be in a graph. The most important results or the most important part of your results should be presented in a table. If you make a in a figure, if you would like to make a comparison, it will be more obvious if you use a graph. This is the differ from one group to another. Everyone do whatever he likes. Look at your variables in the table. After we finish descriptive data, we have to look at our variables in our tables and to start to think, what statistical analysis should I do? What are the possibility maybe? Number one, maybe if your data is categorical variables, use chi-square to compare observed results with expected results. If your data is two continuous variables, and you want to measure a relationship, so we have to use Pearson correlation. If your data is a quantitative data, and you need a comparison of means, use maybe t-test or ANOVA, depend on many things. This is every one of you know when to use t-test or when to use ANOVA test. Now, this is a very nice table to show the interpretation of correlation coefficient. You have to keep this beside you when you started to interpret the data of your correlation. You have to look at this one. Number one means that a perfect negative or positive correlation, plus or minus 90, plus or minus 0.99, 0.90 to 0.99, very high positive. 0 to 0.1 plus or minus markedly low and negative. Look at your results, and you have to interpret according to this table. Keep this with you when interpreting your correlation coefficient. Now we'll go to how to design your table. As you see, this is a typical table. This table starts with the table number 1. Ignore this. Characteristics of a study participant with and without incident diabetes by sex. It's missing something. It's missing the place and the year, but some tables will not need to put the year or the place, but I think for us, you have to put every detail. This table, you have columns and you have rows. For first column, it can be your groups, women and men. And the second column will be your condition. Having the condition, have not the condition. And the number of every group should beside you. This is, you have a mark on this. Your table will be marked according to this, to have the number of the group beside it, number. And this is p-value if you are making any statistical test and you need to put the p-value, so you can put it here or anywhere. It's up to you. But the p-value should be included, the type of test should be included inside the table, and the number of the sample should be included. For the rows, if you can start write your variables, age, but you have to mention age in years. And A means what? Is a kid something you have to clarify. So A here is the footnote. This is the values of mean and standard deviation. As you know, I sent for all of you through your supervisors and through one of your groups that how to use a perfect table, how to use a perfect figure. So you have to go back to this while writing your figure or while writing your table. Then, as you see, body mass index should be written kilogram per divided by meter square. Every variable should have beside it how you did it. Blood pressure measured in millimeter mercury, marital status, nothing, no need to put any unit, single, married, divorced, because this is categorical variable. The field of data. Field of data should be empty like this. Nothing here, no lines like that, no lines like this. Only you have this line to separate this column from the others, and one like this, and the rest is a free. No data here. Only you fill the numbers. I will show you a typical table. This is a very good table. As you see, table 1, nothing here. Socio-demographic characteristics of older adults at Ampo town, Oromia region, Ethiopia, the town, and also the whole country, and then the year, and then the number. If it is just one number, the total number, you can put the number here. But if you have groups, you have to put the number beside each group. So as you see, only variable, frequency, percentage. Sex, this is the title, or this is the subtitle, and you have, this is one, and this is beside, under this. You have to make it in a different font, different type of writing, so we can differentiate between headings and subheadings. This is age groups. In years, this is level of education. And you have here frequency and percent. Nothing here, no lines. You can only put one line like this here, but nothing more. This is a typical table. This is another one. The title is hidden, but total number, men, women, the number of each group, a total group in number, every men in number, women in number, it'll be values here. If you value, you can put here in number, percentage, and age groups divided into categories. Here we'll have median and the interquartile range, and it will be written like this. This is a provisional table. You make it like this, but sometimes we use mean and standard deviation. You can write mean and the standard deviation beside it. We use median and interquartile range if our data is not normal distribution. We use mean and standard deviation if our data is normally distributed. This is the education, starting from primary, end with postgraduate. Marital status the same, working status, and so on. I think this is the last table, and if anyone have any question, he can send to me asking through your group, and I will answer any question. Thank you very much. Maybe we will have another video for clarify certain points, but for now, you can start. Thank you very much.